everybody, and welcome to your weekly woo. So we pulled Aloe, which we have not pulled yet since I've been using this deck. Its keyword is resourcefulness. And then, you guys, we got Blue Heron again. Its keywords are self-reflection. So this is so interesting to me because we are right now, as of today, we are in the dark moon phase as we have a new moon, beautiful new moon on Thursday, a very auspicious new moon to begin things, to start afresh, to really start new habits around health and service. It's a new moon in the sign of Virgo. Virgo is all about creating organization and a structure that sustains your ability to be healthy, to live optimally, to live resourcefully, you know, and here's this aloe here to teach us about that. So, Blue Heron. I want us to really dig deep with this one this week because when we get something twice, you know, as I work with, you know, intuition and cartomancy and things like this, when there's a repeated message, it means we may not be getting it and we need to go deeper into the message. So I'm actually going to pull out the book and let's read a little bit about Heron. Heron medicine is the power of knowing the self by discovering its gifts and facing its challenges. It is the ability to accept all feelings and opinions without denying any emotion or thought. Heron flies over those who are unaware of who they are and where they belong in the world. Gently dropping a blue feather to them, Heron asks that they follow their intuition and begin the empowering journey to self-realization. So this talks about examining yourself so deeply that you are able to see your flaws. This talks about self-awareness that is born through solitude. So, you know, in this shutdown, we're all given this opportunity for this kind of self-reflection. And on the other end of it, hopefully we come out understanding where we are fully and totally and completely responsible for every situation in our life, right? We can't control what happens to us when we're children, but once we come of age, we are responsible for all of our actions, no matter what happened. This was a very frustrating lesson for me. I resented it so deeply because, you know, I was really traumatized when I was young. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, do you want to live as a victim or do you want to create something beautiful while you're here on earth? I would like to believe in reincarnation, but the truth is none of us can prove what happens after our deaths. We have ideas, you know, we may even have fantasies, but the truth is we don't know. So we have to make the most of each and every day and each and every moment. And if we are denying the truth of our flaws and how our flaws have created the circumstances where we may have dissatisfaction or frustration, then we're missing a huge piece of this journey that we have as humans to learn and grow and change and shift and transmute, right? Transmute our desire to put blame on other people and circumstances. We transmute it, we take it back and we say, okay, where do I need to be stronger? Where do I need to get anti-fragile? Where do I need to stand up and create boundaries with myself, right? Always with something like when Blue Heron comes in, it's like, can you go for a week without blaming anybody for anything or anything for your circumstances? Can you do it for a week? So I want to challenge you guys to do that this week. No blaming, right? Even when you're on the road and there's road rage, it's so easy to be like, that car, this, da, da, da. Focus on what you're wanting to change. Where are you wanting to be better? Where are you wanting to be a master? Where are you wanting to be the hero? And don't let this habit, this addiction we have to blame others and play the blame game and judgment game, don't buy into it anymore. Because if we can really stand true and look at ourselves, look at how we're communicating may not be working. Look at the behaviors that may be, you know, stealing from our health. And really claim it. It's interesting this comes up, and some of the other cards we have here are boundaries and twin flame and commitment. So this talks about, I really feel like in relationships, right? If we spent last week reflecting on a basic way, now it's take the relationships you're not happy in, and then don't blame that other person for any of it. Take full and total responsibility. And my experience with relationship therapy and counseling or even reading books on relationships, they always talk about take 50-50, take 50-50 responsibility. But this week, I want to encourage you guys, take 100% responsibility. Give grace to the other person on such a level that it's not that you're saying you're responsible for what they've done, but that you're responsible for the energy that is bringing dissatisfaction to you. And you can change how you feel about it. You can change how you see it. And you can draw those boundaries. So often, if we're not really looking at our part in the issues, we can't actually see where we need to draw boundaries or where we're being too rigid. So this is a week of self-reflection as we lead up to this new moon. It is a perfect time to clean house. And the house being, this body, this mind, this spirit, and also your environment. So this is where resourcefulness comes in, right? The aloe plant. In some ways, this plant thrives on neglect, right? It can survive like anything. And it's incredibly healing in all ways. I actually have a practice in a daily routine. I'm into all sorts of supplements and ways to be healthy, and I drink aloe vera juice. And it's incredibly cleansing, but it also is really soothing to our stomach and our bowels. And this is actually going to be really helpful this week if you guys can get a hold of some aloe vera juice, and you can dilute it with water if it's too strong. And of course, if you're working with a physician, ask them first. But there's something so cooling about aloe vera when we've burned ourselves. And we have all this, Mars energy and this frustration and anger that may be coming up, and desire and ambition that is being blocked. Aloe is going to come in and cool some of that for us on a physical level. But let's take its lessons on a larger level. Where have you been burned, right? This talks about where we are feeling neglected, where we've been burned, and right, this goes back to this idea of when we're hurt, when we're rejected, when a boundary is enacted by someone else and it hurts us. Aloe says, take your focus away from it and focus on what you do want. Focus on nourishing yourself. So also this talks about the things that we need. Connection with other people. Well, that's being blocked right now. And maybe resources, feeling like you don't have the resources that you had before the shutdown, and how are you going to find them? And even a resource of your own inspiration, right? I mean, I've definitely had moments as this shutdown wears on, and now the fire's here where I'm living, and the Zoom class is starting up, where it's like, okay, I have to dig deeper to find that sense of joie de vivre, because as routines come in, right? As restrictions come in, and we may face some more restrictions this fall with flu season coming in, and who knows? I mean, there's all sorts of predictions being made. The message here is spiritual resourcefulness. We each have an ever-renewing sun within us, right? As above, so below. Everything we see out there is also within us. So we have the stars and the sun and the planets within us. That's why I love astrology so much. Because once you understand that and you start tapping into it, then you can recharge yourself on every level, wherever you need that recharging, right? With Saturn right now being so present in the sky and in the cosmic weather, then it's a really good time to think about, where are you being masterful with your emotions? Where are you being mature? Where do you need to be more mature, right? Where do you need to be that wise one? So when it comes to feeling this internal sun, that when things get, hard to deal with, and you're feeling this need for something that you cannot have, Aloe says, go within Everything is happening as it should be happening for your internal spiritual and emotional growth. So as we go into this dark moon phase, which is all about rest, rejuvenation, meditation, really cleaning out so that you're ready for the auspicious energies that come in with new moons, and ours is on Thursday. This talks about taking the time to perhaps just be tired. Being so honest, this self-reflection, so honest with where you're at emotionally. Because if you need rest, if you need rejuvenation, and you don't give it to yourself, you just keep plummeting down energetically. So the awareness to say, hey, I need to draw this boundary right now. I need to take the nap. I need to meditate. No, I can't hang out with you. No, this is my boundary. Please respect it. I'm not going to be able to take this meeting. I'm not going to be able to do this for you. Taking care of the self so that in the long run, you do have the energy to meet the needs and the desires of yourself and other people that you love. Resourcefulness. Now, we also have Lodestone. Look at that beautiful image. I just love these colors. And actually, they remind me of when we see these images of the fires that are happening right now. I also just want to point to the fact that, like, with 9/11 having happened, last week, and these fires that are happening, and just there's a lot of grief. That 2020 is all about grief, right? It's all about purging the collective, this ancient grief, but it's also each and every one of us purging grief. And there's an area in your life right now where grief is up to be examined. And I just want to encourage you guys to let the grief talk. Let it exist. Don't try to push it away, because it's through the grief that our soul speaks to us. It's through our emotions that our soul speaks. And Lodestone says, allow the earth to help you. So what does that look like? I feel like I'm repetitive when it comes to this. This means walking on the bare earth with bare feet. And I said this even last week, laying in your yard or in a park or on the sand, and just giving your heavy heart or your frustrations and your anger, just letting it be absorbed by the magnetic field of the earth. It is our mother, the earth, and we cannot be divided from it. We are a part of it, right? We live on it. It gives us everything. Unless there's, shipments of stuff coming in from planets I don't know about, and maybe there are, but the reality I live in, I think you guys live in too, the earth is our sustainer. It gives us everything. And this goes back to this idea of everything is happening as it should be for your own growth, even if it's difficult. And these cards are asking us to go deeper. And this week, the cosmic weather of the dark moon time, that period, the energy of, the waning moon as it is about to become new again, supports us in this self-reflection, in this slowing down. And there's, so many planets are retrograde right now. The bigger planets, we are allowed to look into the past and see, okay, what did we do to create where we're at now, so that we don't bring the bad habits into the future, the bad patterns into the future. And when I say bad, I'm going to really mean that. The patterns that you can look and see, okay, that does not bring me to where I want to be. So I'm going to have a boundary with myself, and I'm not going to carry it in. This week, clean house physically. Also, it's just going to feel so good. It's going to feel so good. And that makes my ear ring. So that means this is what happens with clients. When my ear starts ringing, I know I'm on to something that's truthful for them, that they need to hear. So cleaning the house or the apartment or wherever it is that you live. And I mean, flipping the mattress, getting rid of old sheets. They talk about, here we have the twin flame and commitment. So this, on one level, this is about romantic relationships and maybe commitments we've made, commitments being broken. You know, Mars retrograde, it can mean, you know, sexual partners and getting rid of them and examining, you know, sexual relationships, romantic relationships, and desire in general. If you've ended a relationship and you're still sleeping on the same mattress as that person and you're really done, I would suggest get a new mattress, get new sheets, get rid of all of that. You know, the physical molecules around us hold the energy. So shift some things up. Also, if you have a carpet, you know, if you have carpets or rugs, vacuum, vacuum, vacuum. It's such a great way to cleanse the energy and just reset the space. Even better, toss some sea salt or, you know, get some cheap salt from a grocery store and toss it around. Salt absorbs negative energy on all sorts of levels, physically, energetically. Let it sit for a while and then vacuum that up. And of course, this is a great time for your own cleansing, fasts, Epsom salt baths, saunas, sweat lodges. Some people think that this, you know, is a good time to cut hair when the moon is waning. It's time to get rid, to shed, like the snake, shed your skin, so that you're fresh and new for this truly auspicious, productive, building energy that comes in with this new moon on Thursday. Now, right before this new moon, we have Venus in Leo squaring Uranus and Taurus. This is a conflict within around your desire to be bold, right? To be bold and beautiful and sassy. And this conflict with, you got to be resourceful, right? You got to be resourceful and you have to be discerning. So that's the next message of this, and I'll get back to these cards in a second. It's not a time to be putting like a ton of exertion out there. With Mars retrograde, it's about like conserving energy, conserving resources, not in a fearful way, but you know, using what you have. Taking on too much right now, buying too much, being frivolous right now is not going to sit well in the collective and in the energy system of each individual. So Aloe is telling us, like, go through the closets and like, what can you, with this, you know, these retrograde energies and the Mars retrograde energy, what can you reuse? What can you reinvigorate? What can you re-empower? What can you desire again? You know, where can you find new desire for something that may be considered old? And so if you are in a relationship, this is a time to renew your commitment or evaluate your commitment or get out of commitments, because you want to review how desire and be really honest about your expression of desire. Where's your desire at? And, you know, taking responsibility, it's not about blaming the other person, but taking responsibility for where your desire is at. And it's not about them not being desirable. It's just where your desire's at. And so you reevaluate the commitment. Now, it can also, this commitment card speaks to new relationships coming in, which would not shock me because Venus is in Leo and it is squaring that Uranus, so it can be like surprise relationships, you know, someone who you never would have thunk, and all of a sudden now you're like, maybe I'm into this. That could be happening. Something that comes in as a surprise, something that comes in that may even challenge the restrictions that are going on around you, where you're like, I don't know if I care about restrictions, because this new offer that's coming in could really give me a lot of fulfillment. Twin flame. Now, this is a buzzword in the spiritual culture right now, and I just want to speak to it quickly before this ends. A lot of people believe that you have another half that was divided at one point in ancient time, and you are born to find that person, or perhaps that part may not even exist for you in a particular lifetime, and that person is on the other side, you know, that other half of you. It talks about the other half being twin flame, being two flames. as a fun idea. But I've also seen it get people into really toxic dynamics where they're like, but it's my twin flame. She's my twin flame. He's my twin flame. I can't abandon them. I can't leave them. I can't enact this boundary. I can't stand up for myself because this is supposed to happen. We're supposed to be reintegrating, and it gets people in just a lot of pain that takes a lot of time to then unravel. For me, what I've learned, twin flame is about that union between the masculine and feminine within each of us, regardless of how we gender identify. And this self-reflection to really do some inward intake as to what is that inner feminine and what is that inner masculine. Especially, if you're a woman, really getting to know this inner masculine. There's, in the sacred wheel of Native American philosophy, the ability to connect with your internal opposite is paramount to your mental health and your emotional health and your ability to manifest fulfillment in your life. It goes even a step further that you have an inner child. So I'll speak for myself. I'm a woman. I have an inner child that's female, and I work with those frozen parts of myself, right, from the trauma of the past. But then there is this inner child that is also the opposite sex that you are. So I would then also have an inner little boy. And that inner little boy is a key to spiritual development and intuition and what we want to call magic or dream time. So again, this is like, no matter how you gender identify, and I mean, this is a much bigger conversation, but we each have these parts. And so that means we all, we have a masculine and a feminine that want input and want to be working in harmony. And we have an inner child we have both a male and a female inner child. And I'm sure on many levels, then there's, you go into like these beautiful spiritual realms. You could go further and further into this idea. As you heal, as you become whole, you're able to contain more and more energy that we call archetypes. So the twin flame card and the commitment card coming up together, and this introspection card, and this resourcefulness card, really say you have everything you need within. Commit to bringing harmony between these parts within yourself. Find the balance between the masculine and the feminine. And these visualizations that you do in meditation, that I do with my clients, and by the way, if you're interested in working on these things, please contact me at info@thegoodwoo.org or head to the website, thegoodwoo.org, and look at the services tab. I'm here to help. I love doing this work. When you go within and you're visualizing in your mind's eye the relationships that your internal masculine and your internal feminine have, this actually can bring you a lot of desire fulfillment, because you start experiencing what you need, what you desire through these meditations, and then you're not trying to find it in someone else. And then in fact, when that appropriate person comes in, earth embrace, which makes me think of balance, a stability. You are able then to meet that human at a whole other level, because your cup is full. You know who you are. You know what turns you on. You know what turns you off. You know your good qualities. You know your flaws that you're turning into gems in your crown, right? We turn every flaw into a strength through self-reflection, through meditation, through honesty. So I hope this inspires you guys to take this energy this week and use it for your own spiritual and emotional growth and mastery. Because when we follow these cycles and we listen and feel the energy and use them, and we become adaptable to the energy, we allow the energies to empower us in different directions, right? So this week is going to be more internal. It's going to be reflective. And then once that new moon hits on Thursday, we're going to start building in energy and building in our ability to manifest and take action. So reach out if you need help. And I hope you guys have a beautiful, joyous week. Take time to nurture, lots of water, lots of self-care, and clean house. It's going to feel so good. And that is self-care. And I'm talking clean out the fridge, the refrigerator, the drawers, the junk drawer, the junk drawer. Get some like organizational trays so you can like organize your drawers and organize the pantry and organize the fridge and organize your closet, right? And your garden, clean up the garden, clean it out so that your space is reflective of clarity. Because you're with this new moon that comes in on Thursday, and I'll make another video about it, you want to be so sure about what you're planting seeds about and for. And when you clean out, you're able to have that kind of clarity. Thank you all so much for viewing.